Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sherly Kumala Sari. My student number in A1B219003. I make this video for complete my orasi assignment. In this video, I will explain what we have to say in our academic conversation or discussion. If the person who will be chairperson in the discussion, you can say like, the purpose of our discussion is blah blah blah, let's discuss blah blah blah. If we talk about blah blah blah, it seems necessary to discuss and decide which is the most and the least blah blah blah. Let me start with blah blah blah. Let's begin with let's discuss first. First, we need to who would like to begin? Can you explain your point a little more clearly? Can we see what other people think about this? Who has not had a chance to speak yet? Is there any last comment on this point before we move on to the next one? So we have two opposing argument here. On the one hand, blah blah blah. On the other hand, blah blah blah. In other words, most of us think that blah blah blah. Can we draw any conclusion from what we have been saying? I think that's a word that we have to say in if you want to be chairperson in the discussion. And when you want to give in your opinion in academic conversation, you can say that like, I think that blah blah blah. In my view or opinion, blah blah blah, as far as I can see or I'm concerned, certainly the main reason for my opinion is, to my mind, in fact, to the best of my knowledge, the way I see it. If you ask me, I'm not sure if it is said or believed or known that it is obvious that it seems to me that I have a feeling that, well, I'd say you can take it from me that if you ask me, it seems to me that if you want my opinion, first of all, or to start with, I'd like to point out there can be no doubt that nobody will deny that everyone knows. Let's get this clear first. The point I'm trying to make is, I'm absolutely convinced that the way I look at or see it is, when you want to give an explanation in academic conversation, you can say like, looks, it's like this. The reason for this is, just let me explain. Well, the thing is, what I mean is, the main problem is, well, the reason is, above all, we must keep in mind that when you want to balance in arguments, you can say, on the one hand, blah blah blah, and the other hand, blah blah blah. Some people say that blah blah blah, others believe that blah blah blah. It is said that blah blah blah. However, when you want asking question about someone else's opinion or explanation, you can say, could you tell me what's your opinion about? How do you feel about? What do you think about or of? Do you think or feel? May I ask you? Do you mean that? Do you agree? Do you share my point of view? What do you mean when you say? What do you mean by that? I don't fully understand. Can you give some examples? Could you explain to me? Just tell me the reason why. Just tell me. I just don't see why or what or how. I didn't quite get that. Could someone please tell me? I don't really understand. Are you saying that? I beg your pardon. When you want give some agreeing or disagreeing in academic conversation, you can say, I quite agree. I couldn't agree with you more. That's true, alright. Exactly, precisely, right, certainly, definitely. I think so too. That's just my feeling or opinion. That's very good or important point. Yes, of course, or definitely, or absolutely. That's exactly what I mean or say. I agree because I strongly agree with you. I couldn't agree anymore. That seems very logical to me. I share your point of view, so do I, or so am I. I'm in full favor of what you've been saying. I can see your point, but that's very good point, but yes, perhaps, but yes, but on the other hand, I agree up to certain point, but maybe, I suppose so. I don't think it's as simple as that. You may be right there. Yes, possibly out of. Yes, up to a point. Yes, in a way. Well, it depends. I see what you mean, but I think that's not the whole story. Yes, but there's also another aspect to consider. I'm afraid I can't agree on it because I'm disagree with you, I'm afraid. I don't think you're right. I don't want to argue with you, but I don't agree with you. I'm sorry, but I have to disagree with you. Are you seriously suggesting that? No, I really can't agree, I'm afraid. I'm not certain or at all sure if that's true or correct. I'm sorry, I can't agree. I'm not convinced that. Well, I have my doubts about that. You don't really mean that, do you? I don't think so. When you want to summarize an academic conversation or discussion, you can say, to sum up, to conclude, to summarize, taking everything into consideration, I can suggest the following order, blah blah blah. Do you agree? I believe the most important is blah 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 and the least significant is blah blah blah. We have agreed on the following order. We have decided the number 1 is blah blah blah, number 2 is blah blah blah, and the number 3 is blah blah blah. I think that's all for me. Thanks for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.